Well, probably
have some lemonade.
It brought me back to being a kid, and you go to camp or something, and you hang out with these people for like a week, 2 weeks, and you think like.
You went through the Nam together.
Yeah, and it's just a week of playing, dumb sports and canoeing and crap.
And making pottery on days it rains.
And then your parents come, and then you say goodbye, and even as a little kid, you realize, oh, no, I'll never see these people again. I'm real sad.
I'm real sad. Yeah.
I'm extremely sad. I don't know what this means. But if you really step back and think about it, especially if you went to camp as a kid, it was only a stupid week in your life. Who cares if you don't see these people ever again?
I went to summer camp, so it was longer than that. It was like...
You got to go all summer?
Yeah, it was pretty much the whole summer at what was called the Paul Bunyan Day Camp.
Ew.
When I was living in Central Islip. Paul Bunyan Day Camp. Babe the Blue Ox.
Wait, was it on Long Island?
Yeah.
So you didn't even get to go away?
No, we had to take a bus there, but it was just like, it wasn't that far. It was in the middle of the woods somewhere, and the counselors were all a bunch of, like, pot-smoking dope fiends.
So you took a bus a couple exits down the highway to camp? That's not going to summer camp. You have to go over a bridge and start going up the mountains and stuff.
No, we came home every day.
Ew.
It was day camp.
You didn't even get to sleep over with all your with all your hormones going crazy in your body.
No. I think I was a little young for the hormone things going crazy, but
oh my God!
It was it was day camp. So we take a bus there, and then they bus us back.
That's summer camp for poor people.
For poor people, we tend to live in clusters.
Right.
Yeah, it was real boring too. Like after the first week, they ran out of stuff for us to do, and we didn't have it wasn't a cool camp with like canoeing and archery and things you see at like cool camps. It was pretty much you either played softball or like soccer or kickball outside, or when it rained, they took you inside where you made like ashtrays out of clay.
Yeah.
And that was it. Nothing fun about it.
That's retard camp.
It really was. My mother just sent us there because she wanted to like have fun a summer, and she didn't want the kids around.
What do you mean by have fun?
Probably have sex with multiple partners. I have no idea. I don't know what she was into back then. She was being groovy in her culottes. I don't know. It was, yeah. So she just, sent us all off to day camp. That was that. It sucked.
I did a little of that day camping too in Central Camp Alvernia, I think it was called. I don't know.
The one on the lake, down by the lake.
Well, on the harbor there in Centerport.
I think it was Moose Lake. It's closer, so I made that assumption. Yeah, the one that's right by the lake there with the because that's one that they like. It's a camp for nannies, I think, au pairs.
I don't know. This is going
right by Centerport. I used to take my jet ski by there, and they would all lay out topless because that's what they did in Europe, and they were all from like Sweden and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So they'd lay out there, and you saw nothing but like these puttering jet skis doing circles. And I was one of them. Thing could do like 60 miles an hour on the water, and I'm just doing
like a mile and a half
in front of this place.
Of course you got to. Of course you have to.
The place is legendary.
Remember back in the day when we were working at NEW, Ben discovered that the Parker Meridian, the roof pool.
The rooftop pool.
Because a lot of Europeans stay there. They would sunbathe in the nude, basically. With maybe a tiny, tiny little thing down here. But they were definitely topless, and we would go there and just eat lunch and watch Babe sunbathe.
They just don't realize. They think they're in Europe, where no one cares or pays attention.
To them, they were wearing bathing suits. To us, it was a holy S moment.
Yeah.
Every afternoon when it was sunny out here in New York City, we'd instead of show prepping, because people think that we used to show prep. We never.
No.
For the most part, we've never show prepped. That's crazy. We would spend an hour up there just having lunch, and for some reason they never kicked us out, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, nice.
We'd pull up a table with our dumb sandwiches and watch, European babes sunbathing, topless. It was awesome.
It is fun when they're kind of out of place.
I tried doing that a couple of years ago, going back up there because of 9/11. Now you can't get up to the roof without the key and this and that. It's all sorts of security things going on.
Permits to get up there. I don't know what the hell the deal is.
So they took my topless boobies away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid 9/11 messing up my topless boobie thing.
I went to camp when I was a boy. My mother sent me to camp when I was 13. I didn't want to go. And I remember we were such dorks that one of the guys thought it'd be cool if we all pretended we were dead when the counselor came in. So we all laid out like we were dead.
What was wrong with you?
I don't know. It wasn't my idea. I just played along.
You just did not have a normal childhood, Jimmy.
So
you guys were playing dead because you heard the rumors of this guy touching kids probably, and that was the only way you could think
play dead.
Yeah, play dead so he didn't violate you.
No, he was young. He was like 16 or 17. He was young dude. He wasn't like one of those guys that just up in the summer trying.
And how old were you?
13.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Summer creep.
Perfect for the hormones that are raging through your body.
But you what did he come in and wake you up every morning?
No, but I forget what he walked in and we all just pretended we were dead. Like, what?
Did it work?
No.
Of course it didn't.
We should have been. No, watch out. These guys are nuts.
Did you put ketchup around your neck or something?
I think someone did do that. Not on my neck, but yeah, it was like
no.
we were
and what did he
posing
do?
hacks.
What did he do? Just dip his lunch into the kid's neck?
No, the worst.
For a little extra ketchup?
The worst out was when he walked in, you heard the of the screen door, and he looked around, and then just and he walked out.
It was nothing.
No.
And you thought it was going to be so cool when he went, "Oh my God, they're dead!"
But there was just nothing.
But nothingness.
No, the dorks had to just get up and go, all right, well, had no impact.
So Kid Nation ended with kids just crying and saying goodbye forever. And they all knew. They're like, we'll never see each other again.
They'll have a reunion show or something, hopefully.
Well, I was kind of hoping for the reunion show. You know, when these reality shows end, it's followed by the reunion show. Not last night. No reunion show for this Kid Nation.
No?
I want to see what these kids are about.
They're all like, well, that was done about 15 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, they'll have their reunion show.
Let's
have them be on the dope.
And then
the other ones will be on the pole.
And then, of course, they'll have to show you the kids that died.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Because it's the real world.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. They'll follow these kids for the next 5 or 6 years. This kid got arrested for drugs. This kid is doing this. This kid is dead. This kid's pregnant.
Yeah.
They're going to spoil the innocence that was Kid Nation.
Aw.
Let's say hi to Scott on Long Island. What's up, Scott?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey.
Hey, I went to that Paul Bunyan death camp myself.
Oh, you did?
I did, and it was no picnic. And Anthony, don't you BS. You know it was no picnic.
Well, I know.
What do you have to add to this?
The instructors, they'd throw you in a pool, whether you knew how to swim or not. If you didn't, if you didn't get to the front and back, you wouldn't get no lunch. They'd throw you in the woods and they'd take off and leave you in there for hours.
Hey, yeah, that happened to me.
Oh, yeah, it happened to everybody.
It really was terrible. I got tied to a tree, and then this big fat counselor took his big meaty paw and smacked my stomach till he gave me pink belly, where you just go bam, 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 and then left me tied to the tree.
That's what you remember from that incident.
Yeah,
you blocked out everything else.
I hope so.
You
hope
blocked it out.
I hope it stays repressed forever.
Wait, why did you do that?
Because they were all a bunch of. I've used the scum word, and that's what they were. They were just a bunch of lowlives that were put in charge of these kids at the day camp.
Well, who else is going to do that job in the summer?
I know.
Like cool kids were like lifeguarding and caddying and doing all that other stuff that was kind of cool.
It was a crap day camp that had the worst counselors ever. I remember that guy. He was like, I think he was Russian or something. And he had this big, like, meaty wrestler hand. Big fat mitt. And he just, like, smashed me in the stomach as I was tied to a tree. He tied me to a tree.
Did you tell your mother?
Yeah.
What'd she do?
She didn't care. She had a date. She was wild back then. Wild, I tell you.
Probably with him.
She probably paid him to do that to you. All right, thank you, Scott.
All right. Sorry to bring up some bad memories, but
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
It's
Paul
all
Bunyan Death
good.
Camp. They called it the Paul Bunyan Death Camp.
Yeah,
we arrived in boxcars.
Let's say good afternoon to Cleveland. What's up, Ray?
How you doing, boys?
Hey, man.
Hello, Jimmy. How you doing? Can't wait to see you on the 29th of February.
Thank you, buddy.
Wanted to call you for, of course, it's Anthony's favorite day of the week. Call Thursday.
Day before Friday? Oh, no, phone call Thursday.
We really did try to get rid of phone call Thursday, but the listeners will not allow it.
You know why? It's the
They will not
easiest
allow it.
way to them for them to contribute without having any creativity whatsoever.
Yeah.
So they come to the phone in droves to just say, happy phone call Thursday, because they got nothing.
Anything else there, Ray?
Yeah, also, I used to go to a day camp out here in a suburb of Cleveland, and it was the worst camp I've ever been to in my entire life. The counselors had no control of the kids. They thought they did, but they never did. You had counselors picking on kids, putting them down, all that stuff. So I really relate to what Anthony's saying about, like, camps and stuff.
I think we all pretty much went to a camp growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And why you didn't need to control the kids. Let them be. Let them be wild.
I used
It's
to get in a
camp.
fight all the time.
Camp.
Huh?
I used to fight all the time with kids. It was amazing.
Yeah, there were a lot of fights. There were, it was a bunch of kids being bussed from Central Islip to this Paul Bunyan Day Camp. So there was a lot of trouble, a lot of racial trouble back then.
Even when you were like 12?
Dude, it was Central Islip.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we'd be on the bus, and it was just like the black kids controlled the bus.
At 12 years old?
Yeah, little skinny white kids. We're just sitting there like, oh, boy, don't mouth off. Don't mouth off. Oh, why did I get smacked in the face? I didn't say a word. I didn't even eyeball them.
You would get smacked?
Yeah. Occasionally, you just as one guy was walking by, you get smacked in the face, and they'd all laugh and go, yeah! as they walked.
Sorry.
As they walked to the back of the bus, oddly enough, they had the freedom to sit wherever they want, but wanted to sit in the back so they could pull shenanigans on the poor little white children of Central Islip.
Face?
Yeah.
That's a lot of slapping stories in your childhood.
Walked by. I was constantly being slapped and crying. That was my whole
Poor
childhood.
Anthony.
Poor me. Thank you, Jimmy.
Basically a punching bag.
I was so just abused.
It does explain a lot, though.
The mental abuse. And then,
we're finally seeing where the seed was planted, Jimmy.
And I have so many, regrets that I remember in my head, little moments that probably could have been happy moments that I just didn't do the right thing or something. I was in Central Islip, and it was a lot of racial trouble. I guess it was, during the early 70s, and the races weren't getting along very well back then, and blacks were coming out onto the this new sense of empowerment, and it was time to get back at Whitey.
Yep.
So us white kids kind of had to stick together and everything, but we never did. We never could. And then I remember one time there was a little white girl named her name was Dawn. It was kind of grossed me out a little because that's my sister's name. It's nothing worse than being in love or lust with a girl that's the same name as your sister.
I've said just the opposite.
And
in Jimmy's case, it allows him to just relive the fond memories.
Nothing better.
And I would just I was telling people how I really liked this girl, and I guess the word got back to her, and I was sitting at my desk, and we had this thing where we all had to make these little kind of like a little scenery thing of Thanksgiving or something. So I made little pilgrims and everything and set them up and glued them to some construction paper and did a whole nice thing. And then they brought in other classes to kind of look around at our thing. So I'm sitting at my desk all proud of my thing. And this girl, Dawn, comes by and she looks at me, and she must have gotten word that I liked her, because she looked at my stupid little construction paper thing, and then looked up at me and gave me this smile. And I swear, I had to be probably 9 years old at the time, but the smile she gave me, I still remember. It was it sent like chills down my spine. And I was like, oh my God, oh Jesus. And she kind of looked at me a little more when she walked away to the next person's stupid display. That was probably a friggin' bodega or a crack dealer. So I was sitting there thinking this is great, and I'm going to talk to her. Dude, I never mustered up the balls to say a word to her. And then it was just, she goes along her merry way. I had that one moment of a smile, and I was like, hey, it's 80,000 years later, and I'm still regretting not talking to this girl at 9 years old.
Where's she at now?
Probably dating one of the black guys.
Absolutely. Well, she's probably dating a pilgrim. That had such an impact on her.
I turned her off to white kids. Go get him, gumption idiot that I was.
But that might have changed your life. See, the good thing was if you would have talked to her, you might have dated her and then had self-worth, and you never would have been funny. You wouldn't have needed to be funny. That might have changed the course of your life.
You might be right.
That little dumb kid might have wrecked
you.
You
would have had 5 kids by now, too.
Could have been. They could have changed. That is odd that there's that might have been one of those forks in the road in your life. And another situation happened in California, and I talked about this one a while back when I was in school, and this girl, very cute girl, was at her locker, and she's bent down getting her stuff, and some douche just kicked the locker door and hit her square in the head, and she started crying. And I was like 3 lockers away, and all I wanted to do was go over there and comfort this crying girl that got her head smashed by the locker. And again, just what a pussy. I couldn't muster up the confidence that a girl that just got her head smashed, that if I gave her a little comfort, she wouldn't just reject me. So I'm sitting there, and should I go? Moment over, idiot. Just shut your locker, go to class, and regret it for 50,000 years.
Are you having a nervous breakdown?
No, okay. No. This is the stuff that keeps you from having a nervous breakdown. You just vent it all out. It's just memories of your childhood that don't go away. And for some reason, it's odd that they stay with you so vividly for so long.
But those are the things that made. See, here's the thing.
It makes you who you are.
Makes you who you are, because now the way to get the girl is make her laugh. Is do this. So that stuff kind of goes into making you, that big-headed chick at the locker who probably deserved it, and the one who would have hated you after 2 dates anyway. Not talking to them did change the course. That made you who you are. You never would have been as funny as you are if you had that kind of self-esteem. There would have been no need for you to be funny.
Guess so.
If the girls liked you because you had cute hair, you would have just relied on your stupid hairdo.
Just let him vent, though, man.
Of course I let him vent, but I mean, I relate to him.
He's finally venting, getting this out.
Yeah.
Getting all this crap out.
It's just,
Man had an awful childhood, let's be honest.
There's so many stories like that. But I just,
sorry to ask Mom,
but I wanted to have a really good, fun childhood, so I did, with myself and a few friends and stuff. I think of a lot of times that I enjoyed. I had a lot of fun growing up as a kid.
Did you ever enjoy your dad?
But they were punctuated by, I enjoyed my dad a lot, but with this reservation, with this impending doom feeling, because it was just like being around him was a lot of fun, but there was always this element of danger. I always felt like, I could be killed at any moment, either killed in a horrific drunken wreck, or shot accidentally, or starved to death, or thrown from a horse. There was always just this element of danger that he felt in order to make me the guy he wanted me to be. He had to put me through this training course that put me on the brink of death many times. So it was kind of odd. But I definitely enjoyed it. 12 through 16, around those years.
I was thinking of your dad when you were talking about that Thanksgiving display.
Mm-hmm.
How long did that last when you brought it home?
Oh, who knows? He was probably having sex with his gumar up in Connecticut.
What a mess.
Jesus. What's the matter, Joey? Because he used to fill vending machines. That was his job.
Sure.
It's like, where were you? Oh, Connecticut. I don't remember your roots being up in Connecticut. I had to pick some stuff up. Oh, did you?
Why did it take 2 days?
Joey, don't think I'm stupid, Joey. I know what's going on. Shut up, Ro. I got a stomach ache. Could you stop and tend to my tummy? No, we can't. Dad's having sex in Connecticut, and Mom's pissed.
You'd fake injuries to get love and stop the fight.
Oh, it was always a stomachache. I never had a new one. I never had a new good one. It was always, I got a stomachache.
That's the worst.
No, you don't.
That's the worst thing to tell a father, by the way, that you have a stomachache.
I have a stomachache.
You can tell your mom you got a stomachache, but your father doesn't want to hear you got that lame stomachache thing.
It's a stomachache, and
because men don't get stomachaches.
It was a tummy ache, and he would turn around and go, "You don't have a stomachache," and you wish you could just like project yourself as an adult into that kid to go, yeah, you're right, I don't. I said I have a stomachache because you two are ruining me. You're just yelling. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. Could you just leave each other so we can grow up in an environment not filled with hate? There, my stomach's fine. Put the Pepto away, Mom. The stomach's fine. You two are jackasses, and you're destroying your children.
That was 30-some-odd years ago. You really should get over it.
Was it?
You really should just get over it.
Well, I have a question.
Wow.
I want to ask Dawn.
Seemed like yesterday when I was saying it.
No kidding.
Now, you saw this girl after she smiled at you. Did you see her in the hallway all the time and then just be afraid to walk up to her?
Yeah, I didn't even make eye contact after that.
Well, that's normal crap, though.
Dude, it might be normal crap, but everybody's an individual, so to me, it was like...
It's not normal.
And then there was... What was her name? Oh, my God. Diane, I think, or Denise or something. And she was in the apartment complex that I lived in Central Islip. And we went down in the basement and kissed in the basement.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, you know? First time I ever did that with a girl. With a little girl. And then she takes off, and then I see her with this kid named Keith doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's just normal crap.
Dude, you little slut.
But it adds up.
Yeah, but it's normal crap to be scared to talk to a girl when you're growing up. I used to follow this girl home from when I was in junior high. I had a massive crush on this girl. I don't want to say her name. I would follow her home. I would keep my distance, and it wasn't like I was stalking her because a lot of people walked home.
I want to know her name.
No way.
Why? It's her first name only, of course, but what's her name?
No, it's all right.
It's not Frank, is it?
No, it's not Frank. And I was never brave enough to walk, completely up to her. I would keep my distance, and the whole time I'm like, "Come on, you could do it." I would have these conversations with myself. You could do it, and I would start walking a little faster. I'd get a little closer, still pretty far away, still a couple 100 feet away, and then I'd back off and have almost like a panic attack. And I never told this girl how much I liked her.
Yeah,
never did it. But I followed her home for a long time.
See, you remember those things.
Oh, yeah,
and they, like Jimmy said, they all add up to make you the person you are.
But all that's normal crap. We could do an hour on this.
Yeah, but I was constantly doing it. It was a part of my personality that I couldn't make the move. I had no confidence as a kid to interact with girls in that way.
You didn't want to confront anything.
Well,
because of your parents.
Well, maybe, but I just didn't have any confidence, and I think that was from growing up in like that household.
Probably.
That environment was probably not the most conducive to building a child's confidence. Oof.
All right, we have to take our first break.
No, we can't. I'm in the middle of a crisis.
No,
I want to hear more of this when we get back.
Oh, absolutely. Jimmy, yes.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff.
Anthony is finally venting, and we'll continue.
Oh, I've vented about my stupid childhood for years.
Nah, it's a little different.
Oh, God.
You're like a 13-year-old kid today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're having a nervous breakdown.
If I was like a 13-year-old kid, I'd be in the bathroom doing what 13-year-old kids do.
By the way, if you're gonna have a nervous breakdown, make sure it's around 7:30 because that's
7:30.
That's when we have our biggest audience.
All right.
All right.
You will let us know if that lamb takes a look at your little display, won't you?
It's Opie and Anthony. Good morning. You're checking out the Opie and Anthony Show. This has taken on a life of its own, hasn't it?
The important thing, though, is how goddamn good is the Callahan?
You could throw... How good is it that you could throw retarded Steve in there and it still rocks?
Oh, man, it rocks even more now. Phone number 877-212-0-A. We got Kelly from Michigan. She wants in on this discussion.
Is it a she?
I don't know. Kelly.
Kelly Leak wasn't.
Kelly.
Good morning, guys.
Yes, it's a she.
She's a broad.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
What's up?
You know what? I thought this was the Dr. Phil show.
The Dr. Phil show.
Yeah.
Did I tune into the wrong station?
Well, Ant's venting a little bit.
Oh,
possibly
geez.
getting close to a nervous breakdown, I'm thinking. And,
I don't think so. I'm just kind of, remembering. And venting. And not even like memories coming out of nowhere. This is stuff I've remembered my whole life. I look back fondly on a lot of it. It's nostalgic. It's very Wonder Years-ish. But,
how it still affects you. So, like, you still get that feeling, like, you'll think about that girl looking at the thing, and that smile still means something.
Oh, it was so sweet and nice.
I was thinking about, the girl I would follow home during the break. And as soon as we went to commercial, I told Jimmy the name.
Yes.
And then I realized, why didn't I just say the name on the radio?
Yeah.
Her name's, see, I'm still scared to say it.
No.
And her first name's Ann. But, because I think it brings you right back. Like, oh my God, she might be listening.
Oh, jeez.
I could give a crap.
I got a call.
I could give a crap about this girl I used to follow home, but it brought me right back because Anthony had reminded me of something, and I was scared to say her name because I'm thinking she might be listening to the show, and I don't want to know what she really thinks of me.
Oh. You
want
to keep
20 some odd years ago or whatever it was.
Keep that in that time capsule where whatever it was.
Right.
How old were you when you followed home?
Like junior high.
Oh, you're older than like 7 or 8. Okay, you like.
Oh no, I was like 13.
He followed her home last week.
Yeah, last week. Right. I follow her kids home now. All right, Kelly. Thank you.
You can have.
Yeah, it is time to get over it. So.
Oh, something. The truth of the matter is, I'm really over a lot of stuff. It's just there are kids that went through a hell of a lot worse than I did. These are just childhood moments. Like Opie said, a lot of kids go through the same things, but it affects you and kind of not so much now. You're not sitting there now still freaking out over anything, but it kind of made you who you were. You kind of bounced off of these events when you were growing up, and all through your life, you bounce off these events, and it kind of guides you down whatever path you end up at the end of. And those little moments are one thing. And it was directly because I didn't have any confidence to go out and really, assert myself and say, hey, I'm sorry that idiot hit your head on the locker, Let me rub the bump on your head. Aww. You could rub the bump in my...
If it's any consolation, hold on to it. The guys that would have walked up to her and comforted her or smiled back and went, oh, I'm glad you like my little project. And there are plenty of kids like that. Yeah. None of them are funny.
Yeah.
Almost none of them could make anybody laugh.
It's a total lack of confidence that you just have to start making stupid jokes.
It is a desperate reach for love.
It's a plea for attention.
Of course it is. It's like, this is what I have to give you here. But you know what? 35 years later, whatever, it's better to have that than a stupid high school football jacket, which you would have gotten. Who cares? Talking over the glory days. Hey, I ran for 65 against Central. Bunch of douches. So good for you not to say hi to her. Made you who you are.
Central!
Jimmy puts things in such great perspective.
Remember the big win over Central?
Yeah.
Look, man, it's weird. It's like, when I think of the girl that I liked when I was a kid, I still have a feeling for her, but I don't picture her as an adult. I picture her as a third, fourth, and fifth grader. Like, I had that little image of her, in the school picture, and that's how you think. So, yeah, it's still very affecting.
Yeah.
There was a girl that I really had a huge crush on growing up, and I did try, and she wouldn't give me the time of day. And then you fast forward many, many years, and I'm at a high school reunion. And this girl is completely following me around the entire time. Loving my ass. Loving my ass because of who I am now.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what?
She wants the Hughes fortune.
I'm like, you know what? Go F yourself. Yeah,
reunion.
Go F yourself.
How old were you when you liked her?
Honestly, from kindergarten all the way for most of high school.
Oh, okay.
I would keep going back to this one girl, like, wow, man. And we, when we were in kindergarten and grammar school, we would talk. We'd go to each other's house. Nothing big. No kisses, none of that. Never got to that, but always had something for her. And, man, when I went to this high school reunion a few years back, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm like, get lost. You don't think I see this coming?
Do you know that it's how it affects you? This, I was kind of in love with this girl when I was in 4th and 5th grade, whatever. And now I look back on it, and I realized that she didn't like me as much as I liked her. And I remember going to her house one time, and we were going to hang out. And then her and my friend kept going down to the basement, and they're like, just wait up here. So I was like, okay, and I waited up there.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
Years later in high school, he told me, like, yeah, that day she and I were downstairs making out. And I got, it was years later, and I got so angry. I didn't tell him I got angry, because I knew that made me a kook. But I was, like, so angry, and it's like, I don't trust women. And that's probably why.
You were just
the one girl I really liked. All of a sudden, I never want to be the guy that doesn't know.
Right.
Like the guy that's like,
yeah.
Oh my God, I never want to be the guy that has the revelation and realizes he's been made a fool of.
Right.
I look back in that day.
God, you were innocent, Jimmy, and she's downstairs basically losing her virginity, or what would be your virginity at that age.
Oh, stupid, non-kissable chapped lips. So that's not crazy stuff.
No,
it really isn't.
There's one more of these horrid little stories of no confidence or anything, and not being able to see my hand in front of my face. Before I left to go to California, I'd been living in Huntington, right behind Fred's Diner over there. Ope knows where that is. And there was this girl, Leanne. Me and Leanne were buddies from the time I moved in there as a kid, growing up into pre-teendom, kind of junior high-ish age around there. And before I went to California, I was like, all right, take it easy and stuff. We'd always hung out, and I was really just in love with this girl. And then I went to California, and I get a letter from her, and it's just her writing, I can't believe you left. I'm so in love with you. And she was circling where her tears were hitting the page as she was writing. And I'm like, I'm an idiot. I'm 3,000 miles away now. I'd have I'd have stayed in New York probably if it was, I knew how this girl felt. And we hung out every day.
Well, did you like her like that?
Yes! But we hung out all the time, but I was just an inept, complete lack of confidence douche who couldn't see, what was going on. I thought we were friends, and I never wanted to make that next step because I didn't want the rejection, or I just didn't have the courage to do it. It's just, an ass.
How old were you when she wrote you that letter?
30? No. It's always funny to say you're older. Makes you seem silly.
I love exaggerated humor.
Probably 12 or something like that.
When's the next time you saw her after that?
Oh, man, when I came back from California. And then forget it. Everybody's just having their own good time and off on their own ways. And it was, completely over. But my mother told me, she goes, Leanne came to, because when I was on the phone with my mother from California, and she goes, Leanne came to the door and asked where you were, and I told her you were in California, because I told her I was going, but I guess I didn't say the day or anything like that, and then I left, and she goes, and she just started crying. I was like, oh, that's odd, and then I got the letter. My baby, she wrote me a letter. Dun, 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 dun.
Wait, did you ever see Leanne? I have to know what happened to Leanne.
Yeah, I saw Leanne after that, because I had came back from California, moved into the same neighborhood that I was at, the same house. Tell you the truth. She still lived across the street. I moved into the same house after I came back from California, went to the same school, and I come walking in, and there's a big difference between 12 and 16. Mm-hmm. So I came walking in, and people were kind of like, I think I know this guy, but I'm looking around going, I know you, I know everything about this person, I know this. So I'm kind of walking around because I disappeared from the face of the earth for a few years, according to these people. So, but they were different people too, you know. They were all older, and yeah, I kind of picked up with old friendships, but for the most part, just made new friends. Leanne, I kind of talked to her and stuff, but she was in her own crowd. She ended up being like very hot, so she hung out with the hot girls, and perish the thought I approached them. I'd rather stand in the back hall in my army jacket, smoking pot with guys, wondering why there are no girls around us.
Where's Leanne now?
I don't know.
You don't want to.
I don't know.
Can I be honest?
Where's Leanne?
You don't want to know where these girls are now.
No, probably not.
I think it helps sometimes though to kind of like to kind of not feel bad about it anymore. You look at them now and you go, oh yeah.
They're middle-aged women heading toward menopause. You really, let's be honest with each other. We have these memories of what they used to look like and what they used to do for you. I don't want to know where these broads are.
No, I'm saying that's good with regret, though. If you have regret, if you look at them now, it's like, how can I regret that? Look at you, you're a pig.
Look, we got everyone fooled. They think we're in our late 20s, early 30s. But really? Some of the girls we dated are heading toward menopause at this point.
It's right over the hill. It's right around the bend.
I gotta... There was this girl, I mentioned it recently on the show, when we were talking about long-distance relationships, and I just am convinced they just don't work whatsoever, because I had one when I was going to Geneseo with this girl. She lived in Utica, and we wrote letters all summer long, back and forth to each other. I got a stack, I just remember this, a stack of letters from her, still tied up in a bow or something at my mom's house. I'm going to bring them in. Oof. And I'm gonna read a letter or two.
Oh yeah.
Because now, knowing what I know, as she's writing these letters, she went back out with her ex, who was the star football player for Central. Central. She was banging him all summer long while she's writing me these awesome romantic letters. So now I gotta bring these in and read them on the air.
Wait, did she circle other things on the paper?
Right.
Where he had left little marks? Yeah. Where he hit my back and it fell on the paper.
She played it perfectly. She wrote nice things. She quoted lyrics from hot songs of the day and perfume on the letters, all that stuff. And then I find out later on that the whole time she was banging her ex, who was the quarterback of Central.
He was behind her, and her face was pressed into the paper so hard it looked like the Shroud of Turin.
Right.
She must really love me.
Speaking of not trusting women, because now I just assume like they're naked together, and I was the joke the whole time, where the guy's like, "Oh, here, write this." Yeah. Like they're writing the letters together, because I was so effing gullible, I guess. I will bring them in and read them on the air. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Definitely.
That would be fun, knowing, what I know and what the listeners know.
That'll make some chills. I wish I would have saved, letters and things, but too embarrassing. There's a girl that broke up with me that I wrote a letter to, and you don't realize till later how completely impossible it would have been to get that girl back. Like, it was just over, She had moved on, and you are just a distant memory. But you think there's this chance if you write this nice, letter or something, and it was just, just talking about how,
hoping she'll forget that you had sex with her best friend.
No, it was even like, yeah, no, it wasn't anything like that. Moments. It was just it's that time when they just decide, or you decide, you're just going to leave. Yeah, it's done. You're early teens. You're in school. It's those school relationship things. And then they just find someone else, One day they walk down the hallway and go, okay, I'll go out with him. And then you're just left there. So you write your little letters. But we're so made for each other. Made for what? At 14?
I'm not even completely made yet.
Yeah, I'm not even cooked. I'm made for each other.
Made?
I'm not made.
This thing still needs a few parts.
It still has some ingredients.
Right.
But you know what? When you look at this low self-esteem and not talking to a girl, then you look back at the times you talked to them and shouldn't have. Like, my self-esteem being low was justified. When I was in high school, I liked this girl, Michelle. I loved her. And I couldn't ask her out. But I finally had the courage. I looked her up in the phone book.
Oh.
And I called her. And I was like, hey, it's Jimmy. And she's like, hi. And I'm like, you don't want to go out with me, do you?
There's some confidence.
She actually was kind of nice. She's like, No, I don't think so. But she wasn't hateful about it.
Yeah. Well, you put her in a great position.
And I think I told you this. Right? I tried to be casual. I was like, well, that's the way the ball crumbles. Like I tried to be funny.
By mixing them up. Yeah.
Crumbles.
Yeah.
Thinking she'd go, oh, wait, on the other hand, you're funny.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jimmy.
plenty of just embarrassing,
I should have just...
douchey moments.
My low self-esteem was telling me the truth.